Post-training notice. National First-Class Registered Exorcist. Chapter 66. Choice. The delivery company had given a cell phone to each employee, and there were a pile of missed calls, asking him why he didn't go to work. There were also many text messages from customers, who checked the tracking and were asking why he hadn't arrived yet. Xiang Cheng woke up and felt for his cell phone. "Leave it alone and rest first." Zhi Xiaoduo said, "You're ill. Did you dream again just now?" "Some childhood things." Xiang Cheng replied. "Don't take it to heart." Zhi Xiaoduo thought that Hu Ziniang's direct power must have been dispelled by the antidote he had created the first time, because otherwise Xiang Cheng would be trapped in the dream forever. Xiang Cheng said, "I'll go deliver the packages first." "I'll go," Zhi Xiaoduo said. Zhi Xiaoduo packed the things in the living room into Xiang Cheng's sack, dragged them downstairs, and stacked them. He put on his helmet, wrapped his scarf around himself, and went to help Xiang Cheng deliver the packages that he had left at home. Fortunately, 11/11ths had already passed, otherwise they would definitely be dead. Zhi Xiaoduo ran around from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and also went to help Xiang Cheng deliver the packages at the express outlet. He greeted the supervisor and said that Xiang Cheng was ill and couldn't deliver packages. "You don't have to come if you're sick." The supervisor said, 11/11ths has already passed, go back and rest ba. We'll pay your gur in a few days, you won't have to come to work after that. Wait for a notice on 12/12. Other people probably would have died of anger, but Zhi Xiaoduo was relieved. He knocked on every door and delivered the packages. The aunties asked, "Yi? Why are you here today? Where's your Ge? He's sick la." Zhi Xiaoduo said, "He won't be doing it next month, he's a temporary worker. He's too tall, and it's too easy for him to strain his waist while doing his type of labor." "Hey, wait." The auntie said to Zhi Xiaoduo, "Come, take this." Zhi Xiaoduo took the fruit and eggs from the auntie and said, "Thank you." Zhi Xiaoduo went back after delivering the packages and sorted through the things that the aunties in the community had given him. There were medicinal stickers to relieve muscle fatigue and some herbs that some rural elderly people had given him, and he put them on the table. Zhi Xiaoduo thought of the scene in the dream, and the more he thought about it, the more afraid he was. This was the power of bewitchment. However, it was different from ordinary magic, in that the Fuyao's strength lay in attacking the weakest point of everyone's heart. Maybe that was what a heart devil was, what he cared about the most. Zhi Xiaoduo had already successfully resisted the pressure of the nine-tailed heavenly fox by using his dragon pupil, yet Hu Ziniang's power had still intruded into his memories. When he thought about it like that, it might be even more difficult for Xiang Cheng to overcome the blow he suffered. "It's time to get up." Zhi Xiaoduo carefully woke up Xiang Cheng. Xiang Cheng had a slight fever, and Zhi Xiaoduo fed Xiang Cheng medicine. Xiang Cheng was like a big, irritable child right now. Holding the quilt, he took a fever-reducing tablet and picked up his cell phone to glance at it. "I helped you resign," Zhi Xiaoduo said. "N." Xiang Cheng replied coldly. Zhi Xiaoduo flipped through his manual, but there was no guideline there on what to do in this situation. Even the Exorcist committee had no information about the nine-tailed celestial fox, and there was no way to undo this dream-like manipulation. Xiang Cheng had no choice but to be reminded of many moments from his childhood in his dream, and all those things had actually happened. "Do you feel uncomfortable?" Zhi Xiaoduo asked. "You might have been hit by his magic." "I wasn't." Xiang Cheng said, "Everything in the dream is true." Zhi Xiaoduo said, "This kind of illusion will constantly dig up your past memories." "I'm fine." Xiang Cheng said. "Okay." Zhi Xiaoduo thought for a while and said, "Either way, you should put the Hu Ziniang thing aside for the time being. Don't sleep anymore, but also don't think about it anymore." Zhi Xiaoduo thought, is Xiang Cheng just suffering from an ordinary fever? Or is this illness caused by the nine-tailed celestial fox? He felt Xiang Cheng's forehead. Based on his knowledge, the power of Fuyao could only attack people's hearts and would not make people sick. Xiang Cheng had probably just been shocked after being attacked by the Fuyao, which resulted in him getting a cold. The power of Fuyao took effect in the form of dreams, so although the spell in the first moment had been forcibly intercepted by Zhi Xiaoduo, its effects still lingered. The key now was not to sleep for the time being. He had to sober him up and solve most the knots in his heart while sober before he could fall asleep again. Have some refreshing coffee. Zhi Xiaoduo made a cup of coffee for Xiang Cheng. Zhi Xiaoduo observed him for a while, but he couldn't confirm whether he had dreamed or not. If he had dreamed as soon as he had fallen asleep, that would be troublesome. Huan Yang's magical power had already exceeded the power of all the Yaoguai that he knew, which made him feel a little helpless. To isolate this illusion magic, there were only two ways: 1, kill the nine-tailed celestial fox, but they would have to go to the organization to figure out how. 2, maybe the heart lamp could exorcise this power. I think, Zhi Xiaoduo tentatively asked Xiang Cheng. Xiang Cheng. What? Xiang Cheng was distracted and looked up at Zhi Xiaoduo. Zhi Xiaoduo said, should we go to the Exorcist committee? I think we need to inform them about the nine-tailed celestial fox, otherwise it will be very troublesome if they are ambushed. You go, Ba. Xiang Cheng replied, I have something else to do, I have to go out. Where are you going? Zhi Xiaoduo glanced at the clock on the wall. It was 3:30 p.m. Xiang Cheng was still thinking about something and said casually, don't worry about it. Zhi Xiaoduo had to sit down again. I think we need to talk. Zhi Xiaoduo was a little depressed and irritable, and said, Xiang Cheng, can we talk a bit about your past? Xiang Cheng smoked but didn't speak. Zhi Xiaoduo said, since the first day that we have been together, I knew very little about you. You never mentioned your past to me, or when you do, it was very little. You talked about it only once, when we were on the train to Beijing. Xiang Cheng said calmly, I love you, and you also love me, so is the rest of it important? Zhi Xiaoduo looked at Xiang Cheng and felt that he seemed different from before. The Xiang Cheng from the club, brilliant and dressed in a high-grade suit, the handsome and fashionable Xiang Cheng, the Xiang Cheng wearing worn migrant workers' camouflage clothes and carrying a woven bag, the Xiang Cheng who watched movies with him in Beijing. He had never encountered such love before, nor had he thought about what they needed to become after being together. But no matter what, he knew that right now may be one of the biggest difficulties that they would face together. Just like countless short stories that he had read in books before, people who loved each other needed to overcome all of their difficulties together in order to proceed being together forever. I used to think so. Zhi Xiaoduo struggled to choose his words and said, I don't really like people questioning my past. After all, my parents. And, you know what my family is like, so I never inquire about my friend's past. If you are willing to tell me, then naturally, you will mention it. But I love you, and I think you are in trouble, so I want to know what you are thinking. Zhi Xiaoduo said, tell me, so we will bear it together. You don't understand. Xiang Cheng said, you don't want to know. If you knew what kind of person I was from the beginning, you would never have gotten together with me. You've always wanted to avenge your mother, haven't you? Zhi Xiaoduo said suddenly. Xiang Cheng glanced at Zhi Xiaoduo and snuffed out the cigarette butt. For a moment, Zhi Xiaoduo felt that he had finally seen the real Xiang Cheng. Yes. Xiang Cheng said. Thank you for telling me that. Zhi Xiaoduo said, I believe in you, but... What did Chen Lang tell you? Xiang Cheng said suddenly. Zhi Xiaoduo. Over a month ago, Xiang Cheng had stood at the security checkpoint and looked back. Chen Lang hugged Zhi Xiaoduo and looked at him from a distance with Chen Zhen. Chen Lang immediately looked away and then said something to Zhi Ziaduo with his hands. Xiang Cheng added, everyone told you to be wary of me, didn't they? Chen Zhen even questioned you repeatedly to know what I usually do, otherwise, why did he let you live in his house? Zhi Ziaduo suddenly grew angry inside, but he then realized that Xiang Cheng's words might only be influenced by the Fox Yao and weren't his original thoughts on the matter. How is that possible? Zhi Ziaduo said seriously, before I knew you, I didn't even know who Chen Zhen was. We have never discussed you, and neither has Xiao Lang. He just asked me to pay attention to your heart devils, and he wanted me to accompany you and for us to live well. I know you want revenge, but don't let the power of the nine-tailed celestial fox affect you, Xiang Cheng. I'm not. Xiang Cheng frowned deeply and said, they killed my mother, didn't you see my dream? You entered my dream, you stood on a raft in the middle of the river with a lamp, you saw everything. Xiang Cheng was obviously very angry and said while panting, my dad used me as bait to make my mom come back. Zhou Mokuo led the team, and the whole Exorcist committee came. They killed her, I killed her. Why? Zhi Ziaduo said, was that also in your dream? But I only saw a little bit, just a tiny bit. I don't know exactly what happened, but I believe it must not be what you think, because Hu Xiniang also tried to influence me. He's lying. He hides a lot of things, and he only showed you the scene that you didn't know about. His illusion deceived you. Do you know why your mom and dad? How do I know? Xiang Cheng retorted, how do I know? Because she was a Yao. That was her original sin. Calm down, Xiang Cheng. Zhi Ziaduo felt that Xiang Cheng's expression was suddenly a little ferocious. He couldn't tell whether what Xiang Cheng said was what he really thought or whether he was being controlled by Hu Xiniang. However, he vaguely suspected that although he had resisted Hu Xiniang's control, he himself was also more or less affected by that powerful Yao sneaking into his dreams. Otherwise, he would not talk to Xiang Cheng about such issues right now. He had no reservations about Xiang Cheng before. At the beginning, if he had opposed the Exorcist committee, Zhi Ziaduo may have also stood with him then. But not now. Xiang Cheng now was just being controlled, and his behavior was abnormal. Calm down a bit. Zhi Ziaduo said, I love you, Xiang Cheng. I do love you, I will never betray you. Xiang Cheng gradually calmed down and said, sorry, Ziaduo, I love you too, I just can't control myself when I think of those things in my dream. I know you love me. Zhi Ziaduo moved his chair, sat down next to Xiang Cheng and wrapped his arms around him in a hug. They were silent for a moment, and there were tears in Xiang Cheng's eyes. What do you want? Zhi Ziaduo said. I want to get my stuff back, Xiang Cheng said calmly, then I will get revenge. Whoever participated in that operation on Mount Ba back then will pay with their lives. Zhi Ziaduo once again felt that Xiang Cheng seemed to have been brainwashed by the nine-tailed celestial fox. The words of Hu Xiniang echoed in his mind again. Why don't we make a bet? Let's bet if I can take away the boss snake from your side. You have the dragon pupil, but the boss snake does not. Zhi Ziaduo said carefully, Xiang Cheng, what if, and I am just saying if, what if the Exorcist committee had no other choice with that tragedy back then? Xiang Cheng drew in a deep breath, his whole body trembling. Zhi Ziaduo immediately said, no matter if that happened or not, even if you want revenge, we first have to investigate the truth from back then. We can't use what the nine-tailed celestial fox told you, because that truth comes with some caveats. We have to investigate things ourselves to find the full truth. I knew that you would be on the same side as them. Xiang Cheng said angrily. Zhi Ziaduo immediately stood up to dodge Xiang Cheng. His instincts were telling him that Xiang Cheng might sweep everything to the ground or hit him with the ashtray. However, Xiang Cheng didn't, just staring at Zhi Ziaduo. This is the first time you've yelled at me like that. Zhi Ziaduo looked at Xiang Cheng. Xiang Cheng closed his eyes and let out a sigh, rubbing his brow with his thumb and middle finger. I will always be with you, Zhi Ziaduo said. If at the end of this investigation, we'll have to stand against the Exorcist Committee, I won't leave you either. Xiang Cheng said, I have been standing against the Exorcist Committee from the start. I am a Yao, while you guys are humans. You don't understand, in their eyes, no matter what wrongs you commit, you are always one of them. Unless they have no other choice, everyone will forgive you and be lenient towards you. On the other hand, even if I don't do anything and just stand there, all the humans will be suspicious of me and be on their guard against me. There was a light tapping sound from outside the window. Si Gui was back, and Zhi Ziaduo hurriedly let it in. Did you find it? Zhi Ziaduo asked. After Si Gui came in, it first flew to the table and turned its head to look at Xiang Cheng. Xiang Cheng raised his hand vigilantly to take guard against Si Gui. Si Gui stepped back a bit, flew up again, and landed on Zhi Ziaduo's shoulder. Zhi Ziaduo. For a time, the room was silent, with only the sound of Zhi Ziaduo and Xiang Cheng breathing. At that moment, Zhi Ziaduo clearly felt Si Gui's feathers stand up, seeming to release a murderous air and wanting to attack Xiang Cheng at any time. How had things come to this? It's here to spy on me. Xiang Cheng put his hand down and said calmly, my dad left Si Gui here so that it could kill me at any time. No. No way, ba. Zhi Ziaduo looked at Si Gui, stretched out his hand, and put it on its body, and Si Gui's feathers relaxed. Xiang Cheng got up, went in, and put on his clothes. Zhi Ziaduo asked, where are you going? You, don't go anywhere. Xiang Cheng said, wait for me at home. Wait. Zhi Ziaduo chased him out, but Xiang Cheng had stepped on the delivery motorcycle. Zhi Ziaduo shouted, Xiang Cheng. Zhi Ziaduo slipped in the snow and fell very miserably. Si Gui flew up, and Zhi Ziaduo shouted again, Si Gui. Si Gui also flew away. After half an hour, Zhi Ziaduo threw his bag onto his back and burst into the Exorcist Committee. It was past 4 o'clock, and there were many people in the Exorcist Committee. They were all exorcists who had come back from Beijing and were checking tasks on the kiosk. Zhi Ziaduo ran into the hall and asked the front desk, is Director Huang Zheng here? He went to the Dengfeng Shaolin Temple on business. A female clerk said, what's going on? How's your case going? Do you need support? In front of the kiosk in the back, many people looked at Zhi Ziaduo. Zhi Ziaduo looked back and nodded to them to say hello. Several people knew Zhi Ziaduo, but Zhi Ziaduo couldn't name them. Hello. Hello. Is there some trouble? Where's your partner? No. Zhi Ziaduo calmed down and replied, I have something to do. Please contact Beijing, thank you. Zhi Ziaduo borrowed the computer, logged into the Exorcist Committee intranet with his name and certificate number, and typing along, Pala Pala, he entered the information of the nine-tailed celestial fox. He left the danger level as needs to be further explored. Considering Hu Ziniang's words of taking Xiang Cheng away, based on Zhi Ziaduo's own inference, the nine-tailed celestial fox was very likely to be working with Dinghai. However, he didn't add any specific analyses, so he just marked it as personal speculation, and wrote Xiang Cheng, Zhi Ziaduo in the signature. Then he clicked to submit. The female clerk brought him a cup of tea and asked, where's Xiang Cheng? He's analyzing the case at home. Zhi Ziaduo said while calling Kita. He had a busy tone the whole time. I just got in touch with Director Huang. The girl said, he said for you to wait in the association, and he'll come back to eat with you later. No, no. Zhi Ziaduo hurriedly said, I have to go home at once. Please ask Director Huang to send someone to check Hui Siyewen as soon as possible. I'm afraid the Yaoguai has accomplices. The girl called him back, and Zhi Ziaduo glanced over. The reply on the computer was extremely fast. This mission has been transferred from the field department to the organization department. Based on Gagan Kita's report, the case has now been taken over by the office of the organization department. What's the situation? Zhi Xiaoduo, is this Chen Zhen? Yes. Zhi Xiaoduo, I'm in trouble and need help. Xiang Cheng and I can't fight the nine-tailed celestial fox. We will send you support personnel as soon as possible. Please ask Kita and Zhou Wanyuan who are nearby for help. Chen Zhen gave an answer almost without thinking. Zhi Xiaoduo was anxious to see Xiang Cheng and replied to Chen Zhen, I'm leaving. Can you call a car for me? Zhi Xiaoduo asked. Just a moment, please. The girl said, I'll ask Director Huan, where do you want to go? Going to? Zhi Xiaoduo was standing in the center of the hall, and people came and went. He felt that the ring Xiang Cheng held with him was already getting further and further away to the east. East, what kind of place is out east? Zhi Xiaoduo asked. Kaifeng. The girl said. At this time, Kita finally called. Chen Zhen asked me to come to the Exorcist committee to assist you immediately. Kita said, my friend brought me here and almost drove me into having a heart attack. Where are you and Xiang Cheng? I'm at the Exorcist committee. Zhi Xiaoduo said, Xiang Cheng went after the Yaoguai on his own. Kita, do you have a car? Hey, old Duan. Kita said. There was a muffled answer from the other side, and Zhi Xiaoduo asked, can you give us a ride? I need to track another Yaoguai. At the other end of the phone, a man's voice said, no problem, where to? Kita said, let's go pick him up first. Xiaoduo, do you need to go home to sort things out? Zhi Xiaoduo said, no need. I'm ready to go. Zhi Xiaoduo ran out of the Exorcist committee, and a Lamborghini drove out of the Yellow River. Zhi Xiaoduo looked through his bag for magical artifacts. Xiang Cheng had taken away Zhou Mokuo's hourglass. In the distance, the Lamborghini honked its horn, and Kita rolled down the front passenger window and shouted to Zhi Xiaoduo, get in. Where are we going? In the driver's seat, a man turned back to shake hands with Zhi Xiaoduo, who shook hands with him. This is Duan Shixing. Kita said. Duan Shixing nodded. It can't be Kaifeng Ba. Shit, we drove all the way here and now we have to drive back. Duan Shixing grumbled, then turned the steering wheel and set off. As soon as the car left the Exorcist committee, Si Gui came down from the sky. Zhi Xiaoduo hurriedly opened the car window and let it in. Did you find him? Zhi Xiaoduo asked. Si Gui lifted up its head and faced east. Duan Shixing drove up the overpass, and up ahead was a long line of cars. Traffic jam. Duan Shixing said, let's take a break ba. Zhi Xiaoduo. Kita. Today was Friday night, and the road out of the city was completely jammed. No matter whether you were a Lamborghini or a Dongfeng big rig, everyone was the same, no one could move. I'll make a call. Duan Shixing said, see if they can bring a helicopter over. There's no place for it to land nearby. Kita said. They can lift up the car directly with a wire. Duan Shixing said. No, that's overkill. Kita comforted Zhi Xiaoduo and said, Great Immortal Xiang will not be in danger, don't worry. Duan Shixing watched Zhi Xiaoduo through the rear-view mirror. Zhi Xiaoduo leaned wearily in the back seat and nodded. Kita climbed over from the front passenger seat, put his arm around his shoulders, and patted his back, trying to comfort him. Zhi Xiaoduo dared not tell Kita what happened. Recalling the details of his past dealings with them, he was surprised to find that the words and deeds of Chen Zhen and Zhou Mokuo all seemed to carry deep meaning. Why did Xiang Xiangdi suddenly act without asking for help? Duan Shixing asked. I don't know. Zhi Xiaoduo didn't dare to say anything. He replied in his heart, why did Xiang Cheng act so suddenly? He's afraid that once it gets out that his family's magic weapon is in the hands of the Fuyao, after the Exorcist committee sends people to encircle and suppress the Fuyao, he might not be able to get it back. Kita glanced at Duan Shixing and gently waved a finger, signaling for him not to ask again. Heavy snow flew through the sky, and the central plains ushered in a snowstorm that hadn't been seen in 30 years. All the cars were jammed on the highway, but Xiang Cheng rode a motorcycle, weaving in and out of traffic, kicking up great gusts of snow. On the roadside, the shadow of a white animal flashed by. Outside a gas station, Xiang Cheng bought a bowl of instant noodles, stood at the roadside under the wind and snow and waited for instant noodles to finish soaking. His cell phone wouldn't stop vibrating with calls, and several text messages flashed past. The phone calls were from Beijing, while the WeChat messages were from Zhijiaduo. Are you on the motorcycle? I don't dare to call you. Come back, don't be impulsive, Xiang Cheng. I believe that you can overcome yourself. Xiang Cheng finished his instant noodles and looked at his cell phone, but there weren't any other calls. He stuck his cell phone in his jacket and was about to get on the motorcycle and leave, when a call came. This time it was an unknown number. Xiang Cheng hesitated for a moment and didn't answer. Who is it? Xiang Cheng frowned and recalled the number. When he was about to answer it, the strange call stopped ringing. Xiang Cheng was going to call back, but a third call came in. This call was different from the first two numbers, and it was a Beijing number. This time, Xiang Cheng answered without any hesitation. Xiang Cheng. Chen Zhen's voice said. Xiang Cheng was silent. What's up? Xiang Cheng lit a cigarette and leaned against the back wall of the convenience store. Get out of there now. Chen Zhen's voice said on the phone, you can't deal with the nine-tailed celestial fox. The organization will send someone to help you as soon as possible. Help me. Xiang Cheng said coldly, more like watching me bot. Hu Ziniang's face morphed into Chen Zhen's. He was wearing a Bluetooth headset in the warehouse and spoke in Chen Zhen's voice. The person standing next to him was Wang Lei, who silently watched Hu Ziniang. I'm doing this for your own good, Xiang Cheng. Hu Ziniang said in Chen Zhen's voice, if I really wanted to make trouble for you, I wouldn't have switched phones. This number is not being monitored by the organization. Say what you want to say, bot. Xiang Cheng flicked the ash carelessly. End chapter. Post-training notice. National First Class Registered Exorcist. Chapter 67. Impulsive. Don't be impulsive, Hu Ziniang said into the phone in Chen Zhen's voice, this will only attract the notice of the old Buddha. Everything that should be given to you will be given to you, even the sword of wisdom, Teacher Zhou gave it to you. If you need something, just say the word, there's no need to be like this. Xiang Cheng drew in a breath and replied, how many spies did you plant at my side? Xiaoduo is a good kid, Hu Ziniang lowered his voice and said, he is saving you, Xiang Cheng. This is your last chance, stop everything that you are doing and turn around. He and Zhenjian Torurakita are about to come and pick you up. Go back to Zhengzhou, and I promise you, after this matter is completed properly, I will give the moon eclipse bow and the great sun will to Xiaoduo. Are you done? Xiang Cheng laughed coldly. Hu Ziniang took off the Bluetooth headset and held it a bit further away. His face seemed to melt, changing into Zhou Mokuo's appearance. Give me the phone, Hu Ziniang said, using Zhou Mokuo's voice. When your father was still alive, he tracked that Fuyao for many years, Hu Ziniang used Zhou Mokuo's voice to say coldly. Your Xiang family has an undying feud with it. Xiang Cheng stood in the midst of the wind and snow, looked up to see the sky, and was unusually calm. Xiang Cheng raised his eyebrow and muttered, an undying feud. Just because it saved my mom and wanted her to stay away from my dad, is that how it is? Hu Ziniang's voice changed, carrying some reproach. Xiang Cheng, from the very beginning, you've been one of the people on our side. Don't let your heart devil control you. Don't forget your father's dying words. It's so great being one of the people on your side, Xiang Cheng said coldly, so my parents died without even leaving a whole corpse. Hu Ziniang took off the Bluetooth headset, quickly changed into Chen Zhen's face, and whispered, "We've located him." Wang Lei immediately pressed a button, interrupting the call. Xiang Cheng's expression changed, and he hopped on the motorcycle, zooming towards Kaifeng. Wang Lei frowned deeply and said, "This guy is very cunning, and he will figure things out sooner or later. Fox Immortal, you need to be careful about him turning the tables on us." "I know. Unless he never sleeps again, as long as he falls asleep, I can read his heart," Hu Ziniang said. "All the seeds of Mara have been used, including the one that his mother planted in the soul of the boss snake all those years ago. You overestimate his intelligence, Wang Lei. Do you still have spies in the Exorcist committee?" Wang Lei replied, "They've already been removed. To watch over the Exorcist committee, we'll have to use magical artifacts, which can be traced back. I don't care what method you use, find out who is coming to pick him up immediately." Hu Ziniang ordered, "Inform Jing how to intercept them." "Yes." Wang Lei replied. ******. The snowstorm blew on, and Zhi Xiaoduo leaned in front of the window. Horns kept blaring as everyone stayed stuck in traffic from 6:30 to 7:30. Duan Shixing and Kita were discussing the nine-tailed celestial fox. It was said that this fox, who was the ancestor to tens of thousands of foxes, had lived for thousands of years and appeared in many dynasties, but then disappeared. "The three of us alone will not be able to be its opponents." Duan Shixing said, "What did Beijing say?" Kita sent a WeChat message and replied, "Chen Zhen called Xiang Cheng, and the person sent to reinforce him also contacted him. He didn't answer the first two calls, and then they got through, but after that, he turned off his phone." Zhi Xiaoduo, with Kita's suit jacket blanketing him, said, "A powerful Yaoguai must also have its own weakness. Many Yaoguai have natural enemies, so to defeat it, we must find its weakness." Duan Shixing replied, "I know very little about it. The fox is very cunning. Every year it appears, it will wipe out everything about its whereabouts and any information about it. You are a Yao subduing engineer, so you should have read a lot of books. What did the books say?" Zhi Xiaoduo shook his head. "Use your imagination." Kita's fingers twitched and he said, "Let's make bold hypotheses but carefully verify them." Zhi Xiaoduo said, "Based on my short tussle with it, its combat effectiveness is not too strong. At least, its physical body has flaws. It's unlike the dragon or phoenix, who are completely shielded from spells and physical attacks. So, in what aspect is it strong?" Duan Shixing put both his hands on the steering wheel and turned his head to ask. "Its spiritual attacks and the unique intimidation its kind gives off." Zhi Xiaoduo said, "It has cultivated for a whole 1,000 years and is at the top of the food chain. Besides the 5 celestial animals, all Yao and spiritual beasts will be intimidated by it. Its attack power isn't very strong." Zhi Xiaoduo said, "But in front of it, whether it is the boss snake or anything else, they will grow fearful, because the fox Yao has lived for too long, and its spiritual power is very strong. It'll be just like when a wolf meets a tiger, the wolf doesn't even think of resisting." "And aside from that?" Kita asked. "When fighting," Zhi Xiaoduo said, "it will launch illusions. As long as its eyes catch your thoughts for even a second, its power will invade your heart, and you will be controlled. Even if you break free from those shackles, that control will still exist, and it will use the weakest parts of your heart to brainwash you, change you, and call upon the dark side of your heart. Everyone has desires," Zhi Xiaoduo continues, "some are dark, suspicious, involving betrayal, revenge, jealousy, hatred, anger. I think it can only be exorcised by borrowing the heart lamp from Chen Zhen." "Not necessarily. Kita said, I see. We still have to find Zhou Wanyuan, damn. Why? Zhi Xiaoduo realized what was going on and said, the grey wolf and the white deer. Your grey wolf and white deer are also totems. Duan Shixing said casually, they won't be suppressed by the aura of the fox Yao. It looks like the two of us will have to hide from the celestial fox. Kita made a call, comforted Zhi Xiaoduo, and said, it'll be okay. After we find great immortal Xiang, have him stay as far away from the fox Yao as possible. You guys don't fight it head on, leave it to me and Zhou Wanyuan. Zhi Xiaoduo was a little relieved. Duan Shixing said, Qi Xiao Xiangdi, go take a rest. There's a pillow in the back. The traffic began to move slowly. Zhi Xiaoduo thought to himself, thank God, it finally moved. The Lamborghini accelerated, and Duan Shixing began to rush forward. Kita was halfway through talking on the phone and immediately said, be careful, old Duan. I know. Duan Shixing said impatiently, this is a Lamborghini. If you get rear-ended, it'll become scrap metal. Kita said, don't mess around. The Lamborghini rushed out of sight with a shoo. Zhi Xiaoduo leaned against the car with Kita's suit jacket blanketing him, and for a time, he felt very tired. In the snow outside, the bare trees flashed past. In the vast white snow covering the earth, Zhi Xiaoduo stood in the desolate wilderness. A pair of fox eyes appeared in front of him. Your lover is already getting out of control. Hu Ziniang changed into a human shape, leaned under a tree, and smiled at Zhi Xiaoduo. You're going to lose the bet. There are no results yet. Zhi Xiaoduo said, don't celebrate too soon, Fox Yao. How about coming over to our side? Hu Ziniang said casually, the Buddha once said that it's better to destroy an 8-story pagoda than ruin a good marriage. You count as half a Yao, and if I introduce you, entering the Holy Land will go very smoothly. I won't pledge my allegiance to you. Zhi Xiaoduo said, you are too proud, too high profile, and people with grand plans always end up falling down. Dinghai hasn't eaten you yet? I think you will be eaten by him sooner or later. Dinghai. Hu Ziniang laughed and said, to me, he's just a minion. By the way, I suddenly want to tell you something. Zhi Xiaoduo frowned, and Hu Ziniang said, don't always look so guarded, I'm not here to use you to deliver false information. It's just that all our plans are ready, and I have nothing to do, so I wanted to chat with you, I think you're very interesting. What's up, talk ba? Zhi Xiaoduo walked slowly around in the snow with his hands clasped behind his back. He looked down at the ground, and drew a circle on the snow in his inner world. Hu Ziniang said, without his Yaohan and the true power of Akalantha, the appearance of the boss snake is that of a very ordinary human. I'm very surprised, how did you grow to like such a person? He's handsome, tall, Zhi Xiaoduo replied, considerate, gentle, smart, and a little bit black-bellied. You Yaogwai don't understand human love, in your eyes, humans are all the same ba. You can see a real person and read what he thinks in his heart. Really? Hu Ziniang said, he's perfect in your eyes. No. Zhi Xiaoduo stepped on his footprints in the snow and replied, I never thought he was perfect. It's true that he's smart. Hu Ziniang smiled and said, this guy thinks he can beat me at my own game by allowing my power to enter his memories, thus stimulating his heart devil to appear. He planned to get the moon eclipse bow and the great sun will and kill me. Zhi Xiaoduo looked up at Hu Ziniang. It's a very risky move. Hu Ziniang raised his eyebrows slightly and said, once he can't control himself anymore and completely falls, no one can save him. The highway led to the edge of the sky, and the snow was boundless. Xiang Cheng's black windbreaker was flapping in the wind, and the strong wind was like whirling knives, disintegrating his soul to pieces. Promise me 3 things. Son. His mother's voice still echoed in his thoughts. The strong wind all around him turned into tens of thousands of needles, and the Yao Hun of the boss snake in his body seemed to have been provoked by something, because it kept rolling around. Xiang Cheng gasped for breath as the boss snake struggled, and his vision gradually blurred. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. In front of that specific grove. Zhi Xiaoduo didn't answer, thinking, is it like that? Is this also an undercover plan? He found that he couldn't always keep up with the pace of Xiang Cheng's thoughts, he was too smart. Zhi Xiaoduo's thoughts were very simple, he always just followed Xiang Cheng, not thinking about why he was doing some things. Do you think his plan will go well? Hu Xiniang asked. Zhi Xiaoduo didn't answer. He felt that Hu Xiniang was fishing for information, but maybe not. If not, what did that mean? It couldn't be that it was deceiving him again, making him think that Xiang Cheng had his own plan and had snuck into this group of Yao undercover, so as to prevent the exorcism committee from acting. No, his thoughts had been carried away by this cunning fox again. He must take back control of the conversation in his dream. After Zhi Xiaoduo finished stepping through his footprints, an exorcism seal appeared in the snow. You can't be thinking about using that against me, right? Hu Xiniang laughed. Of course not. Zhi Xiaoduo said, I just suddenly remembered the symbol. Zhi Xiaoduo stood in the middle of the symbol. He knew that at this time, Hu Xiniang might or might not know what he was thinking. You're very lonely, ba. Zhi Xiaoduo said suddenly. Hu Xiniang's pupils contracted slightly. I don't think you have any friends, Zhi Xiaoduo said, because whether it's a Yao or a human, as long as you're willing, you can read what he is thinking in his heart. Hu Xiniang sneered, and Zhi Xiaoduo said, have you ever liked anyone in the past 1,000 years? It was now Hu Xiniang's turn to be silent. He looked at Zhi Xiaoduo, and there was a trace of killing intent in his eyes. I suddenly feel like I should kill you as soon as possible, Hu Xiniang said. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Xiang Cheng shook his head violently, as if he was trying his best to expel the influence of the nine-tailed celestial fox on his heart. The motorcycle gradually slowed down, and the highway exit was up ahead. The word Kaifeng stood out amidst the wind and snow, and he turned a corner and got off the highway. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. In front of the grove. Zhi Xiaoduo said, let's not be hasty, let's do a psychological analysis on your heart first, how's that? Powerful psychologist, your inner world is always hidden very deep, but haven't you realized something? Zhi Xiaoduo looked at Hu Xiniang, and Hu Xiniang's eyes slightly narrowed as he asked, what? Yao and humans often have a lot in common emotionally. Zhi Xiaoduo said seriously, you have the same feelings as us humans. So? Hu Xiniang said coldly. Just like Xiang Cheng's mother falling in love with his father. Zhi Xiaoduo said, Yao also know how to love, but when it comes to love, both sides won't always feel each other are perfect. Sometimes, even if you love someone, you will occasionally feel a little something in your heart. Zhi Xiaoduo laughed and explained to Hu Xiniang, a little secret thought, for example, sometimes I think Xiang Cheng's habits are too terrible. Whenever he pees, he always gets some to the side. Hu Xiniang looked at Zhi Xiaoduo coldly. Also, he's often sloppy. Zhi Xiaoduo said, he doesn't know how to match clothes. He'll put leather shoes together with white socks, his underwear is often showing. What exactly are you trying to say? Hu Xiniang said. Even the closest of friends will find each other annoying occasionally. Zhi Xiaoduo made a gesture and said, sometimes it's just a thought. It's very slight, but it will make you angry when you encounter a yaoguai like you who likes to dig all the way to the bottom and spy on the dark side of others. So, I think that you probably don't have any friends or lovers. Zhi Xiaoduo added, sometimes I think that Xiang Cheng doesn't love me as much as I thought. Maybe for him, revenge and his family heirlooms are more important than me. You also know that? Hu Xiniang said. Maybe. Zhi Xiaoduo said, but I don't care. Maybe I'm equally as important as those, but because I can't see into his heart, so. I'd rather believe that in his heart, these things are as important as me. So, you're actually very pitiful. Zhi Xiaoduo looked at the nine-tailed celestial fox that didn't live in his dream world, whose yin yang's shape grew larger and became a mountain-like super-spiritual beast. You can see into everyone's heart, but because of that, you will never be able to have friends or lovers. Zhi Xiaoduo said, you resist using humans and letting them use you, but you don't know that resentment and jealousy exist in everyone's heart. We were born with it. You can't accept friends that are even a little disloyal nor lovers that are even a little selfish, but I can. Shut up. The nine-tailed celestial fox roared, I'll give you one last chance. Otherwise, just you wait, I'll smash you into pieces. I won't give in to you. Zhi Xiaoduo roared at the towering giant fox, never. The nine-tailed celestial fox opened its mouth and roared into the sky. The dream world collapsed with the roar, and Zhi Xiaoduo suddenly opened his eyes, but heard Kita roaring. Watch out! Zhi Xiaoduo had just opened his eyes, but everything in front of him went dark and then light again. He spun lightly, lost his balance, and slid to the side. Kita reached out his hand and hugged Zhi Xiaoduo fiercely, protecting him under his arm. Duan Shixing jerked the steering wheel, and the Lamborghini circled rapidly on the highway, the car speeding behind it hitting the rear end of the sports car. When the airbags popped out, Duan Shixing was dizzy from the spin, reached out his hand to pat at the door lock, and the four doors opened with a click. The Lamborghini had been shoved over the guardrail and had spun over to the opposite lane. Zhi Xiaoduo was dizzy. The doors on both sides were opened, and Duan Shixing covered his head and kicked off, flying out of the car, but Kita rolled out of the sports car with Zhi Xiaoduo in his arms. As soon as they landed, high beam lights shone in front of them. An overloaded container truck honked wildly. The Lamborghini was hit head-on and turned into scrap iron. Kita and Zhi Xiaoduo lay on the ground, and the container truck flew right over their heads. Kita rushed over, carrying Zhi Xiaoduo by the collar, and he slipped sideways in the snow as he rushed towards the side of the road. On the way, more than a dozen cars hit each other in an earth-shaking collision. Snow flew up, and there were crashing sounds all around them. Before Zhi Xiaoduo could react, Kita was lifted up by a huge force and was sent crashing into the barbed wire by the side of the highway. Zhi Xiaoduo turned around and saw Duan Shixing's expression. Duan Shixing was wearing a black suit and was trying to rush in to save Zhi Xiaoduo, but he was a step too late in the end. He pointed behind Zhi Xiaoduo, and Zhi Xiaoduo understood and threw himself on the ground. Duan Shixing swept out one leg, sending a huge black monster that had pounced at them flying. Kita! Ah! Zhi Xiaoduo was pounced on by a monster, its claws digging firmly into him. It was a dog-like beast, with its tongue outstretched, its mouth with a steaming rotten stench, and its eyes staring at Duan Shixing. Then the claws tightened, and it grabbed Zhi Xiaoduo's throat. Zhi Xiaoduo looked up and met Kita's eyes. Zhi Xiaoduo raised his hand, gently shook it, and made a sign with his eyes, gesturing for him not to come over. Then he put his thumb against the iron ring on his ring finger and pushed it off. The ring fell into the snow, and Zhi Xiaoduo pointed to the ring and mouthed find Xiang Cheng first. They had to find Xiang Cheng. The longer they were delayed, the more tired he would get. They couldn't let Xiang Cheng fall asleep. The two of them immediately raised their hands, signaling their surrender. The black dog was not interested in them. It lowered its head, held Zhi Xiaoduo horizontally in his mouth by biting him around the waist, turned around toward the highway barrier, and disappeared into the snowy countryside. Zhi Xiaoduo was being carried along face down and couldn't help shaking as the giant dog carried him. His elbow rubbed against its sharp teeth, breaking his skin. That wild dog realized that there was a bloody taste in its mouth, so it dropped Zhi Xiaoduo. Zhi Xiaoduo fell into the field and struggled to get up. The giant dog bent over slightly, covered in snow, its fur rose up, and it lowered its head and raised its eyes to stare at him. "You." Zhi Xiaoduo said, "What do you want to do?" The giant dog roared and pounced at Zhi Xiaoduo. Zhi Xiaoduo was pressed down again, and unexpectedly, it moved to bite at his throat. When he struggled, he couldn't breathe, but a green light shot out from the dragon pupil, heading straight for the black Yao dog. The Yao dog roared in pain and slapped Zhi Xiaoduo away with a paw. The strength of its paw strike almost made Zhi Xiaoduo vomit up blood, and he bent over, kneeling on the ground as he retched. The Yao dog fell into the snow and convulsed a few times. The Yao body disappeared, and he turned into a human. Zhi Xiaoduo recognized it. That monstrous-looking man wearing all black, who Zhenyang had talked about him before, his name was Lang Dog. Zhi Xiaoduo stumbled up. He was covered with snow all over and was nearly frozen. Lang Dog coughed a few times, stood up, and walked towards Zhi Xiaoduo. Zhi Xiaoduo wanted to fight against him, but Lang Dog turned into a shadow. Zhi Xiaoduo raised his hand to block, but screamed in pain. Lang Dog's arms and legs were like steel pipes, and as soon as he hit them, Zhi Xiaoduo nearly broke his wrists. When he tried to escape, he was hit in the stomach by Lang Dog and took a palm strike to the back of his head. He immediately fainted. Lang Dog shook Zhi Xiaoduo. Zhi Xiaoduo was lost consciousness, and his head swayed back and forth. "Dead?" Lang Dog asked suspiciously, and then leaned over to Zhi Xiaoduo's mouth to kiss him a bit. Only after feeling the heat of his breath was he at ease, and put Zhi Xiaoduo on his shoulder, turning his head to look out into the distance. In the direction of the highway, a little silver light flickered, and Si Gui came. "Bad, run now." Lang Dog had to turn around, still carrying Zhi Xiaoduo. He crossed the field, and ran away swiftly on foot. *******. Kaifeng, 9 p.m. Xiang Cheng was flushed with cold, with ice on his eyebrows, and went into a canteen. "Bring me a bottle of Red Bull," Xiang Cheng said. Xiang Cheng finished drinking the Red Bull outside the canteen and shook his head hard to wake himself up. Standing under the tree, he saw a note. "See you at noon tomorrow, Longting Lake." Xiang Cheng took out his ID card and walked towards an internet cafe. He thought about it, then gave up the idea. He found a small restaurant, ordered 2 dishes, drank tea, and ate food. He didn't leave until the store closed at 10:30. He couldn't book a room, and he couldn't go online. Anything that required an ID would lead to him being discovered. Xiang Cheng took a bath in a bathhouse and sat in the lounge of the bathhouse. He also couldn't turn on his cell phone out of fear of being located, so he had to just sit there in a daze and look through the leaflets in the lounge. The more empty his mind was, the more he wanted to sleep. Xiang Cheng's head drooped lower gradually, but then he woke up immediately and looked at the clock on the wall. It was 11:40 at night. "You guessed right," Hu Zhenyang said. "He didn't sleep." Wang Lei said, "The snake types are all crafty and cunning." Hu Zhenyang glanced at Wang Lei. Wang Lei said, "We have to find a way to make him sleep. There's no rush." Hu Zhenyang said, "It's not even 12 yet, and there are still many opportunities to do so." Hu Zhenyang took out his cell phone. He had received a picture from Lang Dog. In a warehouse full of pale lights, Zhi Xiaoduo lay unconscious on the ground. He caught him. Wang Lei said, "Leave it to me, ba. Let me finish first." Hu Zhenyang said mildly, "Has the other party's reinforcement arrived?" Wang Lei said, "We can get to Kaifeng at about 2 o'clock. Jinghao is waiting." Hu Zhenyang casually drew a rune, and the space rippled like waves of water. There were white snowy mountains and a ball of black, rotating fog on the other side. "How is the task going?" A deep male voice over there said. "Tell Mara that this underling has figured out what happened on Mount Ba. Hu Xiniang said. Two beams of light shot out of Hu Xiniang's eyes, and the beams overlapped, showing a dark scene. End chapter.